Good morning, everyone. So now that we're getting into some cold weather and I've been turning the heaters up, I've been having some problems. I've come in a couple of mornings and found some of the heaters had shut off on me. And originally I was thinking it may have been on my gas tank out here. Uh, when the regulator has smaller lines than what I have going into the house. This is a 3/8, and the ones that feeds the greenhouse in my house are 1/2 inch. And I thought maybe the restriction there might be having something to do with it, but I have a heater at the far end like this that is on a separate tank, and it was off the other morning. So I went to trying various things and wasn't having a whole lot of luck on it. And a day or two ago, I got the wild hair up my butt that I would just find out. So I closed the door up there, and I turned on all the heaters and came back here and lit the last ones back on this end, and messed around and almost passed out in here. The heaters are burning up all my oxygen, and they give off carbon monoxide, which the plants are happy with that. But I like not to make it back out of the greenhouse. So anyway, we found out that the greenhouse is way tighter than what I thought it was. And so I took the cover off at the bottom. You can see it better from the outside, and I'll walk out there. But last night I had took the cover off and opened it up, and I ran the heaters, and I turned on my fan up there, and I've got it flipped up to where it's pulling air, and it was drawing. I can feel the air drawing in through below the threshold, and all my heaters were burning this morning the way they should be. And it was 47 in here, and I'm comfortable with that. And most of the plants seem to be comfortable with that. And tonight I'm going to turn them up a little bit more and just find out, because last night there was ice on the bird bath, so we did find a freeze. But at the same time, it does get way cooler than that, and later in the year I will be having to turn them up. But I know that it's like whenever you pull the plastic over the ends here, it does seal up. And then all along the edges, the plastic is covered and sealed to the dirt. And so it is pretty well sealed, but I just didn't realize it was airtight to that extent. And little cratums out there, some of them are still, even with all the frost and the freeze, are still showing green leaves. But that's a video for another time. The main plastic is 24 foot, and whenever I first got the kit and all, down on the end, it was the kit the guy talked about digging a trench and putting the plastic in and putting the dirt back over it. Well, I did that, but with the water running off of the greenhouse, it would wash the sand, dirt, out of the trench. And I found it better just to stretch the plastic out and put the landscape fabric over it and the staples and all, and that seals it pretty well. This down here, this was where the 24-inch or 24-foot ended, and I had to cut the piece down at the bottom to go over it. But even with these, and the way I've got it sealed up, it is fairly tight. And like I said, I just didn't realize that my greenhouse was as tight as it was and that I could burn all the oxygen out of it. The first 4 years when I had the 12 by 16, I heated it with electric heaters, and like I said, first 12 years, or most of the first 12 years, I didn't really try to heat the greenhouse as much as just keep it above freezing. And this is the first year that I'm really going to try to work with it and do some rooting and all. But the threshold there, if you remember in some of the other videos, it's just held in with a bolt in each end, and I can take it out where I could go in and out with my little trailer and work. And so I just put this down at the bottom for looks and to keep snakes out. And so anyway, I've got this old aluminum screen wire, and I'm gonna make some rolls of it and put it down underneath the threshold so that the air it can breathe, but hopefully I can get it in there in such a way that I won't end up with snakes crawling into my greenhouse to hibernate, because I've had that happen a time or two in years past, that a snake get in there and the dogs will tear the greenhouse up to get at a snake, and not to mention I will have a heart attack. And so anyway, we're going to try to prevent snakes and seal it up a little bit down at the bottom and see how that goes. And tonight I intend to turn the heat on a little more. I want to do all the testing and everything I can and get all the figuring done while I have a leeway, room to play with it, and I'm not depending on it keeping them warm overnight. And I'd hate for it to be some of these whenever we do get down into the teens and then find out I got problems. I do have some old electric heaters around, but I don't know that I got enough cords to run out here that far and run them. And so I've got the gas and everything else, and we're gonna get it fixed to where I don't have to sweat it that much. But I'm hoping that with the fan going, will alleviate the problem. It was all three of the thermometers, the one on each end and the one in the middle, were giving me a reading of 47, and that was the best overall reading. Usually one to say one thing and the one on the other end to say something else, but with the fan running and the heaters staggered around the way they were, it was pretty evened out. So that's what's going on for me and my airtight greenhouse. And we will just have to try it again tonight and see what I get in the morning, see if I'm still successful, which I believe it will be. I think that's whenever I get that end opened up, I will have solved my problem. And it being down at the end, it's not letting any heat out, and with the fan it's drawing air in, so I'll have that one heater right at the end that is a thermostat so that if the temperature right there does drop too much, it'll come on and warm the air up before it gets to the plants. And I had mentioned to a number of people about using those vent-free heaters, that's what I have done. It's more economical than buying some of those $1,000 greenhouse heaters and having to do all the work with them and everything. So anyway, it's a learning experience. Hope everyone has a blessed day.